different sectors of political correctness and how it's not a bunch of people that are misguided crazies when they want to have, you know, transgender bathrooms at the elementary school. It is about scrambling society and confusing everyone. And this latest thing, Planet Fitness bans women or woman from gym for complaining about transgender in the locker room. Gym says members can use whatever locker room corresponds to their personal gender identity. Planet Fitness canceled a woman's membership after she complained about a transgender using the women's locker room. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have absolutely nothing against people that grow up feeling like they're another sex. And, I mean, that's been going on throughout history. The issue is there's a higher instances of it, and I'm going to get into why in just a moment. And the system is using this to really scramble society, as I was just saying. Come on. I mean, in public schools and elementary schools, they're trying to say that boys can go to whatever bathroom they want or girls can, and boys are just using it to go in and mess with the girls. And there's a lot of bullying coming out of the hardcore, radical, leftist gay lobby to force their agenda on everybody. And I don't care who it is. Don't try to bully me into going along with your agenda. Because if they can get you to go along with paying for people's sex changes, taxpayer paid for, I shouldn't pay for your nose job or for you to have your genitalia removed. I don't care what it is. But see, they set this precedent. Oh, be nice, be open. I am a classical liberal in the Thomas Jefferson vein. Nowadays, that's called super hardcore right wing. I'm into freedom. I'm into you having your own choice, but here's where your choice ends. When you start trying to take my money or tell me how to live or tell me what to say, see, I'm truly tolerant. To buy and sell, feminism, the Jezebel spirit, you've got the floor. Speak on this for 5, 6, 7 minutes, Joel Skousen.
Well, thanks, Alex. You know, it's really a war on judgment. Everything in liberty requires judgment. It requires sorting out between good and evil, competent and incompetent. And all political correctness, feminism, anti-discrimination laws, which are all the swoon now within politics, this is all a war against judgment. And that's what we're seeing happening. It actually becomes a threat to free markets in general when you cannot judge. It will become a threat to all business entities when you cannot, in fact, make good decisions where you have to have a certain quota of women on the board, for example. Nothing wrong with competent women, but you're not going to find the same percentage of competent women in the workforce as you have men, because men are still the breadwinner on society, and they'd like to change that. The fact that, you know, one of our greatest threats today is anti-discrimination laws, because anti-discrimination is anti-judgment. To discriminate is to judge. To judge is a fundamental right. You cannot have liberty in this world without unrestricted ability to make judgments on your own private property. And
well, that's like saying which restaurant you want to eat at. It's who has the better food. I've noticed political correctness is a war on language, communication, discernment, and choice. Yes. Indeed.
In fact, in the state of Utah, they just got this big new bill trying to have both religious liberty and anti-discrimination laws. I mean, and this is sponsored by conservatives thinking that they're going to placate the gay and lesbian agenda by giving them anti-discrimination, yet giving lip service to religious rights. But in fact, if you, you may have religious rights as a church, but if you as an individual member of a church don't have the right to discriminate about who you will let into your home, who you will bake a cake for, as has recently been a high-profile course, you don't have liberty. You don't have liberty if you don't have freedom of judgment and choice on your own property.
And notice it's only Christians that aren't allowed to have the choice. If the Muslims don't want to take off their headdresses at the airport, they don't have to. or the Satanists, it's only Christians that are being targeted.
Absolutely. And it's not because Obama is a Muslim. I don't think Obama is religious, period. I think he plays the Christian role when he wants to. He plays the Muslim role when he wants to. He was a former Marxist, but he's a globalist puppet right now, does what he's told, and is following a very, very real agenda. It's a very complex social engineering agenda that we're dealing with. They do want the destruction of the family. They do want the destruction of judgment, because judgment is the way that the free market compensates against these regulations and rules, which put people into boxes, into classes. They talk about, classicist. The worst class society that is created is the animal farm society, the thought society that socialists create.
Exactly. It's all the opposite. They claim they're trying to get rid of race. All they do is hype it. All they do is put you in a group.
That's right, and they don't allow you to escape by judgment, by even on your own property, which is where you supposedly are free. It should be free to discriminate. I don't discriminate by race, but I do defend a person's ability to do so, because it's a fundamental right, just as I would defend a person's ability to say anything on his own property that he wants to. Because once you allow government to come in and start to dictate what someone can or cannot do on their own property that isn't affecting anyone else's fundamental rights, then you've really lost a major freedom. And it is not a fundamental right to have a right to a job. The job right lies exclusively with the employer who owns the property, who owns the money. It's his job to give. It isn't a right. Well,
it'd be like the Amish. If I showed up, and I'm kind of, Baptist background, I demand to be an Amish, and I don't adopt their system, they don't have to let me in anyways. I can't make them. I can't go to some black-owned jazz bar that's all black-owned and black employees and say, you're going to give me a job or I'm going to sue you. But I really could, and it's just fundamentally wrong. It's a fraud. I should have to adopt the practices and ideas of a group if I want to join it. That's fundamental freedom.
Absolutely. And ultimately, going to our end point is that people continue to resist the restrictions on judgment and discrimination. They tend to look for ways out, just as people keep looking for ways out of these globalist controls. And that's why eventually they'll give us war, because war justifies all kinds of government strongholds. I mean, the economy goes down in a war. There are shortages, so they have the power to dictate what happens in the markets and the society. But they're also, in this next war, going to dictate to us all types of social engineering rules. I think we're going to get it in spades.
Well, Joel Skousen, editor of WorldAffairsBrief.com, I've got to say this. I've interviewed thousands of people. I've been on here 20 years. You are a true wise man, because I study stuff 16 hours a day. And very few other people I can get on who have deep knowledge. Basically, any subject I curveball at you really have the deep knowledge, and I want and teach me something every time you're on. I want to invite you to come on with us every few weeks for an hour, if you can do it. I know you're busy doing all your other operations, to cover just different random sectors of things so that people can see how it all ties together. Because when you pull back from it, you see the master design, and you see God's design, but then in there, like a cancer, you see the devil's design. And I think if we can get people to see the big picture like you and others do, and I do to a certain extent, we could break this trance. What do you say?
I would love to, Alex. It's just great to talk about big picture areas, the ultimate view of philosophy of where they're going, where we're going, what's God's role in this, what's Satan's role. Love to do it, Alex.
Amazing. We got about 45 seconds left. Other points you'd like to make in closing?
Let's see.
It comes down to the individual taking action and getting their heart right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. We're not. We really have a problem in the sense that when good people, Christians especially, have difficulty seeing wolves in sheep clothing, we are surrounded by people who are lying to us who wear the conservative cloak. And so, people have to start listening to conscience. Conscience is what warns us when someone's deceiving us.
So in closing, it's the spirit. Joel Skousen, thank you so much. I'm Alex Jones signing off.